"This kitchen isn't big enough for both of us." She said it while rinsing kale in my farmhouse sink, her back to me, like she was commenting on the weather. Not a question. A statement. A dismissal wrapped in casual observation. I stood in the doorway with a bag of groceries in each hand, the same doorway I'd walked through for 43 years, and felt the air shift. She didn't even turn around. Vanessa had a way of doing that. Claiming space without asking. Rearranging things and calling it improving. She'd been living in my house for 3 years now, her and my son Marcus and their twins, and somewhere in that time, the pronouns had changed. My kitchen became our kitchen, became her kitchen. I watched it happen slowly, like watching paint peel, one flake at a time, until suddenly you're staring at bare wood. I set the bags down on the counter I'd chosen in 1986 when Marcus was still in diapers, white tile with blue accents. Dated now, sure, but mine. Vanessa glanced at the bags, then at me, and sighed. "Did you get the organic carrots I texted you about?" "I got carrots." She pulled one from the bag, examined it like evidence, and dropped it back in. "Regular carrots have pesticides, Catherine. I've told you this." She used my first name, not Mom, not even Mrs. Brennan. Catherine, like I was her assistant, like I was in the way. "I'm aware," I said quietly. She smiled, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes. "I know you are. You just forget sometimes." Then she went back to her kale, dismissing me again without another word. I stood there for a moment longer, feeling the weight of something I couldn't name yet. Then I turned and walked upstairs to my room. Not the master bedroom. That had been reassigned 2 years ago when Vanessa decided the twins needed more space and I didn't need as much. I'd agreed because Marcus asked nicely, because I wanted to help, because I thought it was temporary. That night I sat on my bed, the smaller bed in the smaller room, and listened to the sounds below. Vanessa's laugh. Marcus agreeing with whatever she'd said. The twins running through the hallway, their feet pounding on the hardwood floors. I'd refinished myself after my husband died. This house had been in my family since 1981. My parents bought it. I inherited it when they passed. Every mortgage payment, every repair, every paint color, every memory, mine. Marcus knew this. Vanessa knew this too. They'd moved in during the pandemic when their apartment lease ended, and they were waiting for the housing market to cool. "Just for a few months," Marcus had said. "Maybe a year, tops." That was 3 years ago. I opened the drawer of my nightstand and pulled out the folder I kept there. The deed, the title, the property tax receipts, all in my name. Catherine Marie Brennan. Sole owner. No co-signers, no mortgages, no exceptions. I'd never added Marcus to the deed, not because I didn't trust him, but because my lawyer had advised against it. "Your house, your security," she'd said. "Don't mix sentiment with real estate." I'd listened. Now I was grateful. I closed the folder and placed it back in the drawer. Then I lay down and stared at the ceiling, listening to my own house hum with other people's lives, and wondered when I'd become a guest in my own home. The next morning, I found Vanessa at my kitchen table with her laptop open, surrounded by fabric swatches and paint samples. She looked up when I entered, her expression bright. "Oh, good, you're up. I wanted to run something by you." She gestured to the chaos in front of her. "I'm thinking we gut the kitchen. Open concept. Marble countertops. Maybe move the sink to the island. It'll be expensive, but Marcus got a promotion, so we can swing it." She said we. She said Marcus got a promotion, not we're asking, not would you consider. Just a plan, fully formed, presented like a done deal. I poured myself coffee, my hands steady. "That's a big project." She nodded enthusiastically. "I know, but this kitchen is so outdated. I mean, no offense, but it's stuck in the 80s. I smiled, not kindly. "It was built in the 80s. She waved a hand. "Exactly. Time for an upgrade. I've already contacted 3 contractors. One's coming by Thursday to give us an estimate." I set my mug down, the ceramic meeting the tile with a soft click. Vanessa. She looked up. Who owns this house? She blinked, caught off guard. What? This house. Who owns it? She hesitated, just a fraction of a second. You do, but no buts. I own it, which means any renovations, any contractors, any decisions about this kitchen go through me, not you. Her face shifted, the brightness fading into something cooler. I was just trying to help. You were trying to take over. That's not fair. Marcus and I live here too. You're guests. The word landed like a stone. She stared at me, her mouth slightly open, processing. Marcus came downstairs then, still in his pajama pants, hair sticking up. Morning, he mumbled, heading straight for the coffee. Vanessa turned to him immediately. Your mother just called us guests. Marcus paused mid-pour. He looked at me, then at her, clearly wanting to be anywhere else. I mean, technically. Technically? Vanessa's voice rose. We've lived here for 3 years, Marcus. 3 years. We pay rent. We help with bills. We're not guests. I waited. Marcus looked at me, apology already forming in his eyes. Mom, maybe we can talk about this later? No, I said calmly. We can talk about it now. Vanessa wants to renovate my kitchen. Without asking, without discussing, just deciding. She scoffed. I was going to ask. You were going to tell. There's a difference. Marcus set his mug down and rubbed his face. Can we not do this before I've had caffeine? But Vanessa was already standing, gathering her samples with sharp, angry movements. Fine. Fine. I was trying to make this place nicer for everyone, but clearly that's not appreciated. She looked at me, her eyes hard. But you're right, Catherine. It's your house, your kitchen, your rules, and it's not big enough for both of us. She walked out. Marcus followed her, murmuring something I couldn't hear. I stood alone in the kitchen, the silence ringing in my ears, and felt something shift inside me. Not anger, not yet, clarity. I called my lawyer that afternoon. Patricia had handled my parents' estate and my husband's will. She knew me, knew my situation. When I explained what was happening, she didn't sound surprised. You want to protect your asset. Exactly. And I want to make it crystal clear who owns what. She paused. Are you thinking of asking them to leave? I hesitated. I don't know, but I want the option. She understood. We can draft a formal lease agreement, month to month or annual, your choice. It'll establish them as tenants, you as landlord, legal and clear. What about renovations? Any changes to the property require your written consent. Period. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Let's do it. I'll have something drafted by end of week. That Thursday, the contractor showed up. I answered the door. Vanessa appeared behind me seconds later, all smiles. Hi, you must be Dave. Come in. I stepped aside but didn't leave. Dave looked between us, sensing tension. Yeah, here to look at the kitchen? Vanessa nodded. Right this way. She led him through like she owned the place, pointing out walls she wanted removed, counters she wanted replaced. Dave took notes, nodding. I stood in the corner, watching. When he finished, he turned to Vanessa. Okay, I can work up an estimate. I'll need the homeowner's signature on the contract, though. Standard procedure. Vanessa's smile tightened just slightly. Of course. That would be me. Dave looked at his paperwork. I have the address as 428 Maple Drive, correct? Yes. And the owner listed on the county records is... He checked his tablet. Catherine Brennan. The room went still. Vanessa's face flushed. She looked at me, then back at Dave. That's her, but I'm the one commissioning the work. Dave shifted his weight, uncomfortable. Right, but she'll need to sign the contract and be present for permits, inspections, that sort of thing. He looked at me. Mrs. Brennan, are you authorizing this renovation? I met Vanessa's eyes. No, not at this time. Dave's eyebrows rose. Vanessa's mouth opened, closed. She let out a short, sharp laugh. You're kidding. I'm not. Vanessa turned to Dave. Can you give us a minute? He couldn't leave fast enough. The door clicked shut behind him. She rounded on me immediately. What are you doing? Protecting my home? By sabotaging me? By making sure you understand that this is my house. My decision. My signature on any contract. Marcus appeared from upstairs, drawn by the raised voices. What's going on? Your mother just humiliated me in front of a contractor. I simply clarified who the homeowner is. Vanessa threw her hands up. This is insane. We live here. We contribute. We deserve a say. You deserve respect, I said evenly. And so do I. Respect includes asking before deciding. It includes recognizing whose name is on the deed. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Then she looked at Marcus. Are you hearing this? Marcus looked miserable. Mom, maybe we can all sit down and… I've sat down enough, I interrupted. I've been accommodating for 3 years. I've given up. My bedroom, my office, my kitchen table. I've been quiet and helpful and flexible. And in return, I've been slowly erased from my own home. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. No one's erasing you. You're being dramatic. Am I? Tell me, Vanessa. When was the last time you asked me before rearranging furniture? Before inviting people over? Before making plans that affect my life, my space, my house? She said nothing. Marcus stepped forward. Mom, we're family. We don't need to keep score. This isn't about score, I said. It's about boundaries and respect. And remembering that I'm not just free childcare and subsidized housing. I'm a person. This is my home. Vanessa grabbed her purse. I'm going out. She looked at Marcus. Are you coming? He hesitated, torn. Vanessa. She left. Marcus looked at me, his face pained. Mom, this is really hard for her. I nodded. I imagine it is. He waited, maybe for me to apologize. I didn't. He left too. That weekend, I met with Patricia. We finalized the lease agreement. Month-to-month tenancy. Rent set at fair market value, significantly higher than what they'd been contributing. Clause specifying that any alterations required written consent from the property owner. I signed it. Patricia slid a second set of papers across. This is a formal notice to existing occupants. It outlines the new terms. You'll need to serve this to them. Do I have to? She looked at me kindly. You want this to be legally binding? Yes, then yes. I took the papers home and placed them in a manila envelope. That evening, when Marcus and Vanessa came back from wherever they'd been, I asked them to sit down. They exchanged glances, but complied. I handed Marcus the envelope. What's this? A lease agreement. Going forward, this clarifies our arrangement. You're tenants. I'm the landlord. All terms are outlined inside. Vanessa snatched the envelope, ripped it open, scanned the pages. Her face went white, then red. You're charging us rent? Fair market rent. But we've been helping with bills, which I appreciate. But utilities and rent are different things. This is $2,000 a month, she said, her voice incredulous. That's what a 3-bedroom in this area costs. We don't have 3 bedrooms. We have 2. And shared, common spaces. Marcus was reading over her shoulder, his expression stricken. Mom, we can't afford this. Then you'll need to find other arrangements. Vanessa stood abruptly, shaking the papers. This is extortion. It's standard tenancy. You can't do this. I can, and I am. You're kicking us out, Marcus said quietly. No, I'm giving you a choice. Agree to the terms and stay, or find somewhere else to live. But what I will not do is continue living as a guest in my own home while you treat it like yours. Vanessa was breathing hard, her face flushed. You want us gone. You've wanted us gone this whole time. That's not true. But I want respect. I want acknowledgement. I want my space back. Vanessa laughed bitterly. Your space. You have the whole upstairs. I had the whole house. She threw the papers on the table. Fine, we'll leave. We'll find somewhere else. Somewhere where we're actually wanted. Marcus stood. Vanessa. Wait. She was already heading for the stairs. I listened to her footsteps, heavy and angry. Then the slam of a door. Marcus sat back down, his head in his hands. Why are you doing this? I reached across and touched his arm. Because I love you, and because love doesn't mean erasing myself. He looked up, his eyes wet. I never wanted you to feel that way. I know. But intention and impact aren't the same. He nodded slowly. I don't want to move. Then talk to your wife. Help her understand. This doesn't have to be a fight, but it does have to change. Over the next week, the house was frigid with tension. Vanessa barely spoke to me. Marcus tried to mediate, caught in the middle. The twins, sensitive to the shift, asked me one night why everyone was sad. I knelt down to their level, smoothed Emma's hair. Sometimes grown-ups have disagreements, but it doesn't mean we don't love each other. Will you still be our grandma? Ethan asked, his voice small. Always. I pulled them both close, my heart cracking. No matter what happens, I'm your grandma. Nothing changes that. They hugged me tight. I felt Marcus watching from the doorway. Later, after the kids were in bed, he found me in the living room. We need to talk, he said. I set down my book. I'm listening. He sat across from me, hands clasped. Vanessa is really hurt. I understand. But Mom, she's not wrong about some things. This house is outdated. It needs work, perhaps. But that's my decision to make. He nodded. I know. And I told her that. He paused. But I also told her we've been taking you for granted. His voice broke slightly. I told her we've been selfish. I waited. He wiped his eyes. When Dad died, you let us move in because we needed help. And instead of being grateful, we just took more and more until we forgot this wasn't ours. I felt my own tears building. Thank you for seeing that. I should have seen it sooner. We sat in silence for a moment. Then he asked, What do you want, Mom? Really? I thought about it. I want to feel like I matter, like I'm not just convenient. I want my space respected, and I want you and the kids in my life, but not at the cost of my dignity. He nodded. That's fair. Can we stay? If we agree to your terms, if you agree to the lease, and if Vanessa can accept that this is my house, then yes. But Marcus, I meant what I said. I won't go back to how things were. He stood, came over, and hugged me. We'll do better, I promise. I held him, my boy, my son, and felt something loosen in my chest. Not forgiveness yet. Not quite, but hope. The next day, Vanessa asked to speak with me. We sat in the backyard, on the bench my husband built. She didn't look at me at first, just stared at the trees. I've been angry, she said finally. I know. I've been angry because I felt like you were rejecting us, rejecting me. I wasn't. I was protecting myself, she nodded. Marcus explained that. He told me how you've been feeling, and he was right. I've been treating this place like mine. I didn't mean to, but I did. I waited. She turned to me. I'm sorry, Catherine, for overstepping, for dismissing you, for making you feel like a guest. I accepted her apology with a nod. Thank you. She took a breath. We'll sign the lease, and we'll pay rent, and I'll ask before changing anything. I appreciate that. She managed a small smile. I do think the kitchen could use some updating, though. I smiled back. Maybe. But if we do it together. You design, I approve, we split the cost. Deal? She extended her hand. Deal. We shook. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't everything, but it was a start. Over the next few months, things shifted, slowly. Marcus and Vanessa paid rent on time, Vanessa asked before rearranging. We had family dinners where I wasn't the one serving alone. The twins still called me grandma, still climbed into my lap, still asked me for stories. And I stayed in my smaller room, but it felt less like exile and more like choice. I'd set my boundaries, they'd learn to respect them. One Saturday, Vanessa showed me new kitchen designs. Not a full gut, just updates. New countertops, better lighting, paint. We sat together at the table, her tablet between us, and she asked my opinion on everything. "What do you think of this backsplash?" "I like it. But what about this one?" I pointed to a softer option. She tilted her head. "You know, that's actually better." We worked through the plan together, compromise by compromise. When we finished, she looked at me. "Thank you." "For what?" "For not kicking us out, for giving us another chance." I reached over and squeezed her hand. "Family is complicated, but it's worth the work." She nodded, her eyes bright. Later that evening, as I watched Marcus play with the twins in the yard, I thought about how close I'd come to losing all of this. Not because I set boundaries, but because I'd waited so long to set them. Patricia called the following week to check in. "How's it going with the lease?" "Better. They're adjusting." "Good. And you? How are you?" I paused, considering. "I'm okay. Better than okay, actually." "I can hear it in your voice," she said warmly. "You sound lighter." "I do feel lighter," she paused. "You know, Catherine, what you did took courage. A lot of people in your position would have just kept accommodating until they disappeared entirely. I nearly did, but something in me finally said enough. That something is called self-respect," she said. "Don't lose it again." "I won't." I hung up and walked through my house. My house. I said it out loud, testing the weight of it. It still felt true, still felt mine. The kitchen renovation started in October. Vanessa hired the contractor, but I signed the contract. We made decisions together. Marcus helped with demo work on weekends. The twins drew pictures on the subflooring before the new tile went in. By Thanksgiving, it was finished. Modern but warm. Updated but still mine. We hosted dinner that year. Marcus, Vanessa, the twins, and some neighbors. Vanessa cooked, but asked if I wanted to help. I did. We worked side by side, not stepping on each other, not fighting for space, just cooking. At one point, she turned to me and said, "This kitchen turned out perfect." I smiled. It did. She hesitated, then added, "I was wrong before, when I said it wasn't big enough for both of us. It is. It always was. I just wasn't making room." I felt tears prick my eyes. "Thank you for saying that." She hugged me, brief but genuine. After dinner, as everyone gathered in the living room, I stepped outside for air. Marcus joined me. "You okay, Mom?" "I'm good. Really good." He put his arm around me. "I'm proud of you." "You know that? For what?" "For standing up for yourself. For teaching me what boundaries look like." I leaned into him. "You're learning." He laughed softly. "Better late than never." That night, after everyone had gone to bed, I sat in my room and pulled out the folder again. The deed, the lease, the paperwork that had changed everything. I ran my fingers over my name, Catherine Marie Brennan, owner. I thought about the woman I'd been 3 years ago, shrinking herself to make room for others. And I thought about the woman I was now, still making room, but not at the expense of her own space. There's a difference between generosity and erasure, between helping and vanishing. I'd learned that the hard way, but I'd learned. I tucked the folder back into the drawer and turned off the light. Tomorrow, Vanessa wanted to talk about painting the living room. I'd already decided I'd say yes, as long as we chose the color together. Compromise, respect, boundaries. These were the new rules. And for the first time in years, I felt at home in my own house. Not because they'd left, but because I'd stayed.